The yellow school bus rattled along the narrow dirt path, weaving through the dense Ituri Forest in southeastern Nigeria. Inside, 25 students from St. Mary's Secondary School in Enugu chatted excitedly, their voices a mix of nerves and anticipation. They were on a field trip to the ancient Okoro Shrine, a sacred site rumored to house spirits of the old gods. Mr. Chaku, their history teacher, adjusted his glasses, peering out the cracked window. The forest was unnaturally quiet, no birds, no rustling leaves. Then he saw it, a tree trunk carved with glowing green symbols, pulsing faintly. "Stop the bus," he shouted, heart pounding. The bus screeched to a halt, dust swirling around the tires. Mr. Chaku stepped out, motioning for the students to stay seated. "What are those symbols?" whispered Amaka, a curious 15-year-old, pressing her face against the window. Before anyone could answer, a deep, guttural croak echoed through the forest, shaking the leaves. The ground quaked, and then they saw it, a colossal frog, its skin glistening green with wart-like growths, eyes glowing like the symbols on the tree. It loomed over the bus, cracking the windshield with a single swipe of its webbed claw. Screams filled the air as the students ducked for cover. Panic erupted as the giant frog slammed its massive body against the bus, tilting it dangerously. "Drive, Mr. Obi!" Mr. Chaku yelled at the driver, who fumbled with the keys, hands trembling. The engine roared to life, and the bus lurched forward, tires spinning in the mud. The frog's tongue lashed out, wrapping around a tree and pulling itself closer. Amaka noticed something strange, small, frog-like creatures scurrying around the giant, as if guiding it. "It's not alone," she shouted. The forest seemed to close in, branches scratching at the windows. Were these creatures protecting something deeper in the woods? The bus swerved down the path, the giant frog in pursuit. Inside, Chidi, a quiet boy who loved history, clutched an old book he'd brought about Igbo folklore. "Sir, look," he called to Mr. Chaku, pointing to a page about the Okoro Frog, a guardian spirit of the shrine. The book mentioned a curse tied to the shrine's desecration. "It says only the pure of heart can stop it," Chidi read aloud. Mr. Chaku's face paled, he knew more than he was letting on. What had happened at the shrine years ago, and why was the frog targeting them now? Mr. Obi, the driver, wiped sweat from his brow as he navigated the treacherous path. "I should have told you," he muttered to Mr. Chaku. "My grandfather was a shrine keeper. He warned me never to bring outsiders here. The frog, it protects the sacred ground." The students overheard, their fear turning to suspicion. Why hadn't Mr. Obi spoken earlier? Amaka whispered to Chidi, "Do you think he's hiding something else?" The bus hit a bump, and a small, carved frog totem rolled from Mr. Obi's pocket, glowing faintly. The same green as the symbols. What was Mr. Obi's true connection to the shrine? The forest grew darker, the air thick with mist. The giant frog's croaks faded, but the smaller creatures still trailed the bus, their eyes glinting in the shadows. Amaka pressed her ear to the window and heard faint whispers in Igbo, "Return what was taken." She shivered, sharing the words with her classmates. "What was taken?" asked Ngozi, a bold girl sitting nearby. Mr. Chaku avoided their gazes, his hands trembling. The whispers grew louder, almost a chant. The students realized the forest itself was alive, speaking to them. But what had been stolen, and who had taken it? Mr. Chaku finally spoke, his voice shaky. 20 years ago, I visited the Okoro Shrine as a student. My group, we took something, a sacred emerald, said to hold the spirit of the forest. We thought it was just a story. The students gasped. I gave it to a museum in Lagos, he admitted. The giant frog roared in the distance, as if it had heard him. Chidi flipped through his book, finding a passage, the emerald binds the frog to the shrine. Without it, the guardian awakens. Had Mr. Chaku's actions unleashed this curse? The bus sputtered and stalled, smoke rising from the engine. "We are stuck," Mr. Obi cried, slamming the steering wheel. The giant frog's croaks grew closer, its glowing eyes visible through the trees. The students huddled together, fear gripping them. Amaka noticed the small frog totem in Mr. Obi's hand glowing brighter, pulsing in rhythm with the giant frog's croaks. "That totem, it's connected to the frog," she exclaimed. Mr. Obi nodded reluctantly. "It's a shrine keeper's charm. It can summon the guardian, or comet. Could they use it to stop the frog, or would it make things worse?" "We need to get to the shrine," Amaka said, her voice steady despite the chaos. "If the emerald belongs there, maybe returning it will stop the frog." Mr. Chaku shook his head. "It's in Lagos. We can't get it now." Chidi pointed to the totem. "What if this can help? The book says the pure of heart can command the guardian." The students looked at each other, who among them was pure enough? Ngozi volunteered, "I'll try. I've never stolen anything." But a shadow crossed Mr. Obi's face. Did he believe in Ngozi, or was he hiding another secret? The giant frog burst through the trees, its massive body blocking the path. It smashed the bus's roof, sending glass flying. The students screamed, scrambling to the back. Ngozi clutched the totem, whispering a prayer her grandmother taught her. The totem glowed, and the frog paused, its eyes narrowing. For a moment, it seemed to listen. Then the smaller frogs swarmed the bus, their tiny claws scratching at the windows. "It's not enough," Mr. Obi shouted. The totem's power was limited without the emerald. They needed to reach the shrine, but how, with the frog so close? "We have to run," Amaka shouted, grabbing Chidi's hand. The students poured out of the bus's emergency exit, dodging the giant frog's snapping jaws. Mr. Chaku led the way, his memory of the forest path guiding them toward the shrine. The smaller frogs chased them, their croaks a haunting chorus. Amaka noticed one student, Emeka, lagging behind, his face pale. I hear it calling me," he whispered, pointing to the giant frog. Why was Emeka hearing the frog's voice? Did he have a connection to the shrine, or was the forest playing tricks on his mind? As they ran, Emeka stumbled, clutching his head. "It's in my dreams," he cried. "The frog, it's been calling me for weeks." The group paused, catching their breath behind a massive tree. Emeka explained, "My mother, she was a priestess at the Okoro Shrine before she died. She said I was blessed by the forest spirits." The students exchanged uneasy glances. Could Emeka be the key to stopping the frog? Mr. Chaku looked troubled. "If you're blessed, the frog might see you as a threat, or its master." What did Emeka's connection mean for their survival? Through the mist, the Okoro Shrine emerged, a crumbling stone structure covered in moss, its entrance flanked by carved frog statues. The air hummed with energy, and the glowing symbols from the trees adorned the walls. The giant frog's croaks grew louder, sensing their approach. Amaka felt a chill, the shrine seemed to watch them. "We need to get inside," she said, but Mr. Obi hesitated. "Only the worthy can enter," he warned, glancing at Emeka. The totem in Ngozi's hand pulsed faintly. Would the shrine accept them, or had they already angered the spirits too much? As they stepped toward the shrine, the ground rumbled. A stone frog statue came to life, its eyes glowing green, blocking the entrance. "Who dares enter?" it boomed in Igbo. Ngozi held up the totem, her voice trembling. "We seek to right a wrong." The statue studied her, then Emeka. "The blessed one," it murmured, stepping aside. Inside, the shrine was dark, filled with ancient relics. But the giant frog was closing in, its roars shaking the walls. Had they walked into a trap, or was the shrine their only hope? At the shrine center stood an altar, a hollow space where the emerald once rested. Above it, carved words in Igbo read, "Speak the truth to awaken the guardian's mercy." Amaka frowned. "What truth?" Mr. Chaku hung his head. "I stole the emerald." "I'm sorry." The altar glowed faintly, but nothing happened. Chidi whispered, "Maybe it's not just his truth." Amaka stepped forward, his voice soft. "I've been afraid to accept my mother's legacy. I'm ready now." The altar glowed brighter, but the giant frog crashed through the shrine's wall. They were running out of time. The giant frog loomed inside the shrine, its massive tongue lashing out. The students scattered, hiding behind pillars. Amaka stood his ground, facing the creature. "I am the Blessed One," he shouted, his voice echoing. The frog paused, its glowing eyes fixed on him. For a moment, it seemed to bow, but then the smaller frogs swarmed Amaka, their claws drawing blood. "It's testing him," Amaka cried. Mr. Obi clutched the totem, muttering a chant. The frog's rage intensified. Why wasn't it listening to Amaka? Was his blessing not enough, or was there another piece of the puzzle? Mr. Chaku clutched his head, a memory surfacing. "There was a ritual. When we took the emerald, we didn't complete it. We were supposed to offer a gift to the forest." He explained that the ritual required a sacrifice of gratitude, something meaningful to the thief. "I have nothing left," he said, despairing. Amaka looked at the totem in Mr. Obi's hand. "What about that?" "It means everything to you." Mr. Obi hesitated. His grandfather's totem was his last connection to his family. Could he let it go, and would it be enough to appease the frog? Mr. Obi stepped forward, tears in his eyes. "This totem has been in my family for generations. I offer it to the forest, with all my heart." He placed it on the altar, and the shrine trembled. The totem dissolved into green light, merging with the altar. The giant frog let out a low croak, its aggression fading. The smaller frogs retreated, their eyes dimming. Amaka, still bleeding, touched the altar, and a soft voice whispered, "The curse weakens." But the emerald was still missing. Could they truly end the curse without it? The giant frog's eyes glowed softer, and a vision filled the shrine. The students saw the forest as it once was, lush, peaceful, the emerald glowing on the altar. A voice spoke, "The emerald must return, or the guardian will rise again." The vision showed a museum in Lagos, the emerald locked in a glass case. Amaka clenched her fists. "We have to get it back." But the frog, though calmer, still blocked their exit. It seemed to wait for something more. What else did the forest demand, and how could they escape to retrieve the emerald? The frog's gaze shifted to Ngozi, who still held the faint glow of the totem's power. "Prove your heart," it seemed to say. Ngozi took a deep breath, remembering her grandmother's teachings about honesty. "I've been jealous of Amaka's bravery," she admitted aloud. "I wanted to be the hero." The frog tilted its head, and the shrine's air lightened. Amaka smiled at her friend. "We are all brave in our own way." The frog stepped aside, allowing them to leave. But the vision lingered in their minds. Time was running out. How would they reach Lagos and retrieve the emerald? The students emerged from the shrine, the forest now eerily silent. Mr. Chaku called a friend in Enugu, arranging transport to Lagos. A rickety van arrived hours later, and the group piled in, their nerves frayed but their resolve strong. Amaka's wounds were bandaged, but he felt stronger, as if the shrine had awakened something in him. Amaka noticed him whispering to the trees, as if they answered back. What new powers did Amaka hold, and would they help in Lagos? The road ahead was long, and the giant frog's warning echoed in their minds. In Lagos, the museum stood quiet under the moonlight. The students, led by Amaka's quick thinking, devised a plan to sneak in. Chidi, who knew a bit about locks from his uncle, picked the back door's lock while Ngozi kept watch. Inside, the emerald glowed in its case, calling to Emeka. But as they approached, an alarm blared. Someone had tipped off the guards. Footsteps echoed closer. Had someone betrayed them, or was the forest testing them again? They grabbed the emerald and ran, the guards hot on their heels. The curse wasn't done with them yet. As they fled the museum, Mr. Obi lagged behind, his face twisted with guilt. "I called the guards," he confessed, stopping the group in an alley. "I thought, if the emerald stayed here, the curse would end without more danger." The students were furious. How could he betray them? Amaka stepped forward. "The forest chose us to fix this. You can't decide for it." Mr. Obi hung his head, ashamed. The emerald pulsed in Emeka's hand, as if urging them onward. But now they were fugitives. How would they return to the shrine with the authorities searching for them? Sirens wailed as the students darted through Lagos's bustling streets, the emerald hidden in Emeka's bag. Ngozi spotted a market and led the group into the crowd, blending in with the vendors and shoppers. A kind woman, Mom Nkechi, noticed their fear and hid them in her stall. "You carry something powerful," she said, eyeing Emeka. "I feel it." She gave them directions to a smuggler's route back to the forest, avoiding police checkpoints. But as they left, Mom Nkechi whispered to Amaka, "Beware, the forest sees all." What did she mean, and who was she really? The smuggler's route was a bumpy path through back roads, the van rattling with every turn. The driver, a gruff man named Kofi, kept glancing at Emeka. "You're the blessed one, aren't you?" he asked, his voice low. Emeka nodded, surprised. Kofi revealed he'd once served the Okoro Shrine, but fled after a vision of the frog's wrath. "It's awake because the balance is broken," he said. The emerald glowed brighter, as if responding. But Kofi's hands tightened on the wheel. Could they trust him, or was he leading them into another trap set by the forest? Halfway to the forest, the van was ambushed by a gang of thieves, tipped off by someone tracking the emerald. "Hand it over," their leader growled, brandishing a machete. Emeka clutched the gem, its glow illuminating the night. Amaka whispered to Chidi, "Use the book." Chidi recited a protection chant from the folklore text, and the emerald flared, blinding the thieves. They fled, but the van was damaged. As they pushed it toward the forest, Amaka wondered, who had betrayed their location this time? The forest's influence seemed to stretch far beyond its borders, watching their every move. The Ituri Forest loomed ahead, its trees whispering as the students approached. The emerald's glow cast eerie shadows, and the air buzzed with energy. The giant frog's croaks echoed, but they sounded different, almost welcoming. Emeka led the way, his connection to the shrine guiding them. The smaller frogs appeared, but instead of attacking, they formed a path to the shrine. "They are helping us," Ngozi said, amazed. But Mr. Chaku looked uneasy. "The forest never forgets," he murmured. What final test awaited them, and would the frog truly accept the emerald's return after all these years? Inside the shrine, the altar glowed as Emeka placed the emerald in its hollow. The giant frog entered, its eyes soft but piercing. The stone frog statue spoke again, "One must stay to guard the shrine." The students froze. Who would make such a sacrifice? Emeka stepped forward. "It's my destiny. I'm the blessed one." Tears filled Amaka's eyes, but she nodded. The frog bowed, and the shrine's walls shimmered, sealing Emeka inside with the emerald. The curse was lifted, but at what cost? The group left, heavy-hearted, the forest now peaceful around them. The journey back to Enugu was silent, the students grappling with Emeka's sacrifice. Mr. Chaku vowed to honor the forest spirits, teaching his students about respect for sacred places. Amaka and Ngozi held hands, their friendship stronger after the ordeal. The smaller frogs followed them to the forest edge, as if saying goodbye. At school, the community mourned Emeka but celebrated his bravery. A new mystery lingered. Emeka's last words to Amaka were, "The forest will call again." What did he mean, and would the students ever return to face the spirits once more? Months later, Amaka dreamt of the shrine. Emeka appeared, his form shimmering like the emerald. "I'm the new guardian," he said. "The forest is at peace, but you must protect its secrets." She awoke, a frog totem beside her pillow, glowing faintly. Had Emeka sent it, or was the forest reaching out again? Amaka kept it hidden, unsure of its meaning. She told Ngozi, who suggested researching more about the shrine. The mystery of the forest's power lingered, drawing Amaka back to the stories of her ancestors. What role would she play in the forest's future? Mr. Chaku began teaching about the Okoro Shrine in his classes, sharing the story of their journey, leaving out the more dangerous details. He donated his savings to restore sacred sites across Nigeria, hoping to atone for his past. But late at night, he heard croaks outside his window, faint but persistent. Was the forest watching him, ensuring he kept his promise? He wrote a letter to the museum, confessing his theft and urging them to protect cultural artifacts. The croaks stopped, but Mr. Chaku knew the spirits would never fully release him. The story of the Okoro Frog spread through Enugu, sparking a revival of interest in Igbo traditions. Elders held ceremonies to honor the forest spirits, and St. Mary's students led projects to preserve local history. Amaka and Ngozi started a club, teaching younger children about the balance between nature and humanity. But whispers of strange sightings in the Ituri Forest persisted, glowing symbols, fleeting shadows. Were these remnants of the curse, or signs of a new mystery? The community watched the forest closely, knowing its power could awaken again. What secrets still lay hidden in its depths? Amaka studied the totem Emeka had left her, its glow pulsing faintly at night. One evening, it led her to a hidden journal in her grandmother's attic, written by a shrine priestess. The journal detailed rituals to communicate with forest spirits, including a warning: the totem chooses its bearer. Amaka realized she'd been chosen for a purpose. But what was it? The journal mentioned a second emerald, hidden deep in the forest, meant to balance the first. Was this why Emeka said the forest would call again? Amaka felt a new adventure brewing. Ngozi joined Amaka in studying the journal, and they decided to return to the Ituri Forest. They gathered Chidi and a few others, determined to find the second emerald. The forest welcomed them, the smaller frogs guiding their path. But the air felt heavier, the whispers louder. The balance is not complete, the trees seemed to say. At the shrine, Emeka's spirit appeared, smiling. "You've heard the call," he said, pointing to a hidden chamber. Inside, the second emerald glowed, guarded by a new challenge. What would they face to restore the forest's harmony? The hidden chamber was guarded by a spectral snake, its scales shimmering like emeralds. "Only the worthy may take the gem," it hissed. Amaka stepped forward, holding the totem. "We seek balance," she said. The snake lunged, but the totem flared, protecting her. Ngozi recited a ritual from the journal, calming the snake. It slithered aside, revealing the second emerald. As Amaka took it, the shrine shook, and Emeka's voice echoed, "The forest is whole." The students felt a wave of peace. Had they finally ended the curse for good, or was there more to come? The Ituri Forest bloomed with new life, flowers sprouting where the students walked. The smaller frogs sang a melodic croak, a song of gratitude. Emeka's spirit appeared one last time, his form fading into the emerald's glow. "You've honored the spirits," he said. "Protect this balance." The students returned to Enugu, the two emeralds safe in the shrine. The forest's whispers ceased, replaced by the sounds of birds and rustling leaves. But Amaka kept the totem, a reminder of their duty. What other sacred places needed their protection, and would they answer the call? Back in Enugu, Amaka and her friends shared their story with the community, inspiring others to respect nature and tradition. They planted trees around the school, a symbol of their bond with the forest. The totem no longer glowed, its purpose fulfilled, but Amaka kept it close. She felt Emeka's presence in the wind, a gentle reminder of their journey. The students grew closer, their shared experience a foundation for lifelong friendships. But a question lingered: were there other guardians in other forests, waiting for someone to hear their call? The village elders visited St. Mary's, commending the students' bravery. But they issued a warning: the forest's peace is fragile. Greed can awaken new guardians. They gifted Amaka a carved staff, a symbol of her role as a protector. She accepted it with pride, knowing the responsibility it carried. The elders spoke of other sacred sites across Nigeria, each with its own spirits. Amaka wondered if her journey was truly over, or if the staff marked the beginning of a larger mission. What other mysteries awaited her, and would she be ready to face them? Years later, Amaka became a teacher at St. Mary's, passing down the story of the Okoro Frog to her students. Ngozi became a historian, documenting Igbo traditions, while Chidi wrote books on folklore. Their classmates spread across Nigeria, advocating for cultural preservation. The Ituri Forest remained peaceful, a testament to their efforts. But Amaka often looked toward the horizon, feeling the pull of adventure. The staff, now a cherished heirloom, seemed to hum with energy. Was it calling her to another sacred place, or was it a reminder of the past? One night, Amaka dreamt of the forest again. Emeka appeared, older but radiant. "The spirits are grateful," he said, "but the world is vast. Protect what is sacred." He showed her visions of other forests, rivers, and mountains, each glowing with hidden power. Amaka awoke, the staff glowing faintly by her bedside. She knew her journey wasn't over. The totem, the staff, and her experiences had prepared her for a greater purpose. She smiled, ready to answer the call. What new adventures would she face, and who would join her on this path? The story of the Okoro Frog teaches us to respect nature and the sacred traditions of our ancestors. Greed and ignorance can disrupt the balance of the world, awakening forces we cannot control. Like Amaka and her friends, we must listen to the whispers of the earth, honor what is sacred, and act with courage and honesty. Emeka's sacrifice reminds us that true bravery often comes with a cost, but it can heal what was broken. Let us cherish our heritage, protect our environment, and ensure the spirits of the past guide us toward a harmonious future. Did you enjoy the tale of the Okoro Frog? There's more to explore. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for more thrilling Nigerian stories, cultural insights, and mysteries that keep you on the edge of your seat. Click the link below to join our community, share your thoughts in the comments, and let us know what sacred mysteries you'd like to uncover next. Let's honor our traditions and protect our world together. Hit that subscribe button now. As the story ends, Amaka stands at the edge of the Ituri Forest, the staff in her hand. She feels the weight of her journey and the promise of new ones. The forest whispers softly, a melody of peace and gratitude. She knows the spirits are watching, guiding her path. The students of St. Mary's, now grown, carry the lessons of the Okoro Frog in their hearts, ensuring the balance remains. The mystery of the forest lives on, a reminder that some secrets are meant to be protected, not uncovered. What will your legacy be?